Hey there and welcome back to XCOM. My name is Pete and today we complete episode 49 of our XCOM Enemy Within Ironman Impossible walkthrough. So we're only one video away from the big 50, but of course before we can get to that we have some work to do. Now, the last episode was a big one as we finally took care of EXALT once and for all, so starting today all we have to worry about are the aliens, but considering how we are slowly progressing into the endgame, I think that is also more than enough. Now, at the moment we don't have anything to take care of here in our base, so I would say let's start scanning and see what the episode has in store for us. Alright, and we immediately have to stop again here as 2 of our firestorms have now also been armed with laser cannons, and with that we now have 10 of them ready and armed. That means we can station 2 on each continent, so let's transfer 1 from Africa to North America here, that way they are distributed nice and evenly. We can also at this point dismiss 1 more of our interceptors, and don't worry, the laser cannon here will not be lost in the process, but I think we should be more than fine with 3 aircrafts, so this way we can save a few credits each month. Okay, and here we are now with the completion of our next research project, and we are still within the realm of aircrafts with this one, as the Fusion Lance here might arguably be the most powerful aircraft armament in the game. It is also pretty expensive, so we probably won't buy a bunch of them right now, and the EMP cannon is also very serviceable against some of the tougher enemy UFOs, but eventually we want to have a few of these, if only for the sake of completion. Now, regarding our next research project, we unfortunately have hit a bit of a roadblock. As you can see, we currently cannot start working on neither one of these projects, the simple reason being that we don't have enough weapon fragments. I think the huge number of EXALT missions we completed over the last episodes definitely played a role in that, and we may or may not have been a bit too liberal with explosives as well. In any case, at this point we can't really do much more but to wait until the next mission appears, which will then hopefully give us enough fragments so that we can start working again.
You're gonna want to take a look at this, Commander. Incoming transmission from the Council.
Okay, and it looks like that mission might be just around the corner, so let's see what we have here. Right, so this is, I believe, our very first target escort mission of the series. It's probably not going to be too difficult. If I recall correctly, there are mostly thin men on these missions, and the rewards of 129 credits and 5 engineers are definitely nothing to pass up on. So I would say let's assemble our squad and get ready for combat.
We are confident that you will handle this matter with discretion.
And we won't really make any changes to the 6 women who already defeated EXALT last time. Only Emilia will receive the arc thrower instead of a grenade. I don't think we're actually going to meet any new types of aliens on this mission, but perhaps we can obtain some plasma weaponry this way. And that would already be all, so let's head out and see what awaits us.
The Council report indicates that a team of combat engineers, led by one Sergeant Carlock, has discovered environmental contamination caused by the aliens. He's going to need an evac near the other end of that pier. As always, we should eliminate any resistance encountered along the way. Objective updated.
Alright, here we are with our squad at the docks, and Sergeant Carlock is also already with us.
You're gonna want to get analysts on these reports ASAP. And if they hit these targets, we're screwed.
Now, our starting area here is fairly protected, but we also don't see a lot of the rest of the map, so let's start scouting, as usual, with Sharky Santoso. And she immediately detects not 1 but 2 groups of thin men, which leads me to believe that this is in fact a thin man only mission. Depending on their numbers, that doesn't necessarily mean that the mission is going to be easy, but at least we kind of know what we can plan for. For now, we of course want to move up without catching our enemy's attention. For once, we are not on the clock here because of melt or anything else, so we can take this slowly and methodically and move everyone up a bit, including sniper talpers who can already hover into squad side range.
They're going after our infrastructure. Water treatment, electrical substations, transportation, anything they can do to slow us down.
Sergeant Carlock, meanwhile, will move into cover. That is pretty much all he can do on this mission. And then we're setting up overwatching positions for Emilia, Andrea and Annette and end the turn.
Just received some intel that hostiles are advancing on your location. Ready up.
Right, so it also seems like anytime we move Sergeant Carlock further down the map, this also triggers enemy reinforcements, so we should be careful not to advance him too far too quickly. For the moment, we only have 2 additional Thin Men dropping in, both out of sight unfortunately. One of them, however, dropped behind our ranks, so we should probably take care of that one first. And because he went on Overwatch, and I'm not quite sure if he actually has line of sight through all of the windows here, we will now activate Ghost Mode with a net. That way we will definitely not trigger any reaction shots, and we also improve our chance for a critical hit. Right, that is the first enemy down, which still leaves us with 7 more that we know of. And while we could now play things very safely and wait for that other reinforcement Thin Man to run into our Overwatches, I think we can handle him and 3 more, especially if we start things off with a grenade from Kim Lupai here, which already brings the entire pot down to 1 hit point. Okay, so our enemies have scattered, but they're all still alive, and we have been doing that on purpose. Keep in mind we still need those weapon fragments. So let us now start cleaning things up with an Archangel squad side shot from Sniper Talpas.
We found some kind of organic material in one of the local reservoirs. Who knows what it'll do if people drink that water. Get me out of here in one piece and your people can analyze these samples.
Sergeant Carlock then provides us with a bit more backstory, but won't do anything else on this turn. Instead, we're now sending Andrea into a slightly more advantageous position, but we'll keep the door closed for now, while Emilia tries her hands at a 70% shot. Now at this point we are in a bit of a tricky situation because we can't move Luisa without revealing her, but we also still have 2 active aliens on the map. And I will admit, putting Emilia on Overwatch is a bit risky here. In hindsight, hunkering down or just ending the turn may have been the better choice, but we'll see how this goes.
They've got me locked down. Watch the side.
Okay, I think it's safe to say that Overwatch was a huge mistake. I knew that second group would get activated by it, but that's not the problem here. The problem was the first initial reaction shot revealing her to the enemy she was firing at, who then went in with suppression, destroying her cover and pinning her down, and opening her up to a very unfortunate critical hit from the other Thin Man. So yeah, maybe playing it cautiously may have been the better option. At this point though, we really have no other choice but to play the hand we're dealt. So, first things first, let us move up with heavy CFD Kim Lupai. Thanks to her squad leader being nearby, she has a 100% chance to mindfray the suppressing Thin Man, and I think getting rid of that one should be our first priority here. Okay, lovely, that still leaves us with 4 enemies, but more importantly, it also allows Luisa to move, so let's get her into range to take a free shot against the Thin Man who hurt her earlier. And that's the kill, activating Combat Rush, and we can also fire a second time. And let's take aim against the Thin Man on top of the container here. With a 71% hit chance, that is our best target. And that shot connects as well, so we're now down to 2. Time to move up Emilia and see which one of those 2 she has a better hit chance against. And unsurprisingly, that is the one right in front of her, so let's hope she can take it out. Fantastic, and that leaves our final enemy to be killed from high up above by Sniper Palladium Talpas. So, 8 enemies are down, and I'm not quite sure how many more await us. We still have a bit of a ways to go between here and the extraction zone. So let's move up Andrea and Annette, put them both on Overwatch and see if the aliens make a move. And they do not, which leads me to believe that they do not actually roam around on this map, so it looks like we have to be the aggressor for every remaining group of hostiles we encounter. Before we continue fighting, however, I think it's a good idea to patch up Luisa as good as we can, and thankfully we have Emilia on hand who can quickly get her back up to full health.
Don't move. You'll be fine.
Miss Santoso herself can then keep scouting, but so far she doesn't find anything. And that means we can safely move the rest of our squad up to her position, including our VIP Sergeant Carlock, which could potentially trigger a wave of alien reinforcements on the next turn.
Back online.
Eyes peeled, Strike One. Opposition is headed towards you. Repeat. Hostiles approaching your position.
Okay, and we only have one single thin man drop down here. Not exactly a huge challenge, I would say. And let's give the kill here to Sniper Talpus. I think she can use it. Alright, and with that, Michelle has actually earned herself a promotion. So once the mission has been completed, she will advance to the rank of Captain.
That location.
Now at this point we can keep scouting ahead with Sharky Santoso, and in doing so she does actually also reveal the next group of Thin Man. Interestingly enough, at the moment she does not actually have line of sight, so we could potentially stealth her even closer, but for the moment I think moving up the rest of our squad should be enough. With Annette and then later also with Emilia, we're actually trying to go around the side here maybe. I think that could provide us with a few opportunities for flanking shots. Once again, we're also moving up Carlock here and then put everyone else on Overwatch. Perhaps his advancement already triggers the next group of reinforcements.
Hostiles are headed your way, Strike One. Prep for contact.
And indeed, it looks like we have more enemies inbound, but perhaps our Overwatches are already enough to deal with them.
Adjusting sights.
Okay, it was once again only a single Thin Man, but both of our heavies missed their reaction shots. But with Kim here we can simply try again, since she is a bit closer. And there we go, that is another kill for her, but Andrea will also get some time to shine. She can now launch a Shredder rocket and activate the group of enemies ahead of us.
Rockets away. Here they come.
And there we go, once again we want to make sure not to kill anyone with explosives here, otherwise we won't receive any weapon fragments. So, 3 enemies remain and I'm not quite sure if we'll actually be able to get them all on this turn. 2 kills are guaranteed however, the first one being a mind fray from Annette.
I have a special nightmare just for you.
Our second kill then comes at the hands of Sniper Palladium Talpus, who has a very good shot here from afar and is not bothered by half cover. Now that leaves us only with one enemy, but that one is in a bit of an unfortunate position for us. So let's play things safely this time and deploy a smoke grenade with Emilia. This should keep our entire squad well protected while we put Kim on Overwatch and then hunker down with everyone else. Now, we probably could have used an Overwatch with Luisa here as well, but I think she has taken enough damage for one mission, so let's see if CFD can take care of the job.
Adjusting aim.
And that she cannot, unfortunately, which is not too surprising over this distance, I would say. It does give the Thin Man a chance to fire a shot of its own, though.
They missed.
Now that one goes wide as well, and that means it is now time for our Archangel Michelle, who can once again grab herself a guaranteed kill here. So, we have another group of hostiles defeated, and at this point the extraction zone is getting closer. There might be 1 or 2 more groups waiting along the way though, so let's see if Sharky Santoso can spot them. Okay, and it looks like the next group of Thin Man is hiding inside of the building here. Judging from their position, they might be the last enemies on the map, but of course I wouldn't bet on it. Now for this round we are of course not attacking immediately. I think though that Luisa detected these aliens fairly early during her run, so we should not advance too far here. This gives us the chance to at least activate a full round of Overwatches, but again I don't think we'll see any alien movement. And that is in fact the case, so the pod is still sitting there in front of us, and because there are a number of high cover walls to hide behind, we're actually starting things off here with a rocket, but we'll make sure to not actually hit the aliens themselves.
Eat this.
Right, so despite the explosion happening nearby, the group here is apparently none the wiser, so we can calmly take one of them out here with another squad-side shot from Michelle.
Ha caído. Contacto visual.
Okay, now that sends them packing back into full cover, but I think with one of Luisa's grenades here we can blow that up as well. Okay, it appears as if Luisa is definitely an unlucky one today. Not only did this move lose her line of sight, as you can see she also has a very limited angle for the grenade, so she is likely only going to be able to hit one of the two enemies.
Throwing grenade.
And even after the explosion we still don't see anyone, so let's move up with a net here to hopefully change that. Right, at least she's able to establish line of sight, and with that we also have another guaranteed kill here via Mindfray. Now for the last enemy here, our plan A is admittedly a bit risky, but let's see, perhaps Emilia can make the 50% shot count. Right, that is what I had feared, so we will now have to use explosives after all. A shredder rocket from Luisa will take care of the enemy, sadly though without dropping any weapon fragments.
Eat this.
And that is pretty much our turn. All we can do now is move up with Sergeant Carlock and see whether or not that triggers another wave of reinforcements. Okay, no Thin Man dropping in on this turn for a change, and with the extraction zone close by, let's see if the coast is clear. And that appears to be the case, although we might have one more wave of reinforcements coming in along the way. Carlock himself still has a bit of a journey to make here, so it's not entirely unlikely that we have one more small fight waiting for us. To prepare for any aliens who might drop in, we will move everyone up a bit. At this point you can also see that Michelle cannot fly any further because she's out of fuel. One unit of fuel is unfortunately required to simply keep her in the air. To end the turn then, we can once again activate Overwatches and see what happens.
Hostiles are closing on your position, Strike One. Eyes open, people.
And once more, only a single Thin Man is dropping in here, triggering reaction fire from our supports Emilia and Annette, and over this distance the two of them don't miss. Now at this point we might very well be done with the mission, because Carlock can dash into the extraction zone from here, but perhaps we can farm one more wave of reinforcements if we take it a little slower. So let's only move him up half the distance, slightly rearrange our squad, and then go for another round of Overwatches. Unfortunately, however, nothing happens, but just to make absolutely sure we'll activate another full round of Overwatches here. Perhaps we get lucky, although I doubt it. And indeed it looks like that's it for this mission, so let's send Carlock into the extraction zone and wrap things up.
Once we get these samples back to your people, drinks are on me.
Looks like the VIP is secure. Buckle up and return to base.
VIP is safe and on board.
New objective received. Excellent work, Strike One. Wipe out any remaining aliens and come on home.
And there we go, 17 kills, no losses, but an unfortunate injury to Luisa Santoso. Let's return to the base now and see if that puts her out of action for a few days. And indeed it looks like Luisa will spend the next 5 days on the shelf. That is not too long and we might get away without having her miss an entire mission, but still it is unfortunate and was definitely avoidable. Now, on the bright side, we have 2 promotions to take care of, and let's start with Kim Lupai. She has been promoted to Colonel, and with that she is now the 3rd heavy in this series, reaching that highest rank. And in terms of abilities here, both are pretty useful. We will, however, forego the additional rocket in favor of Mayhem. She already has the Shredder rocket for the slightly weaker targets, which thanks to Mayhem will now actually be boosted by 3 points of damage. And the same is true for the regular blaster launcher rocket, which now deals 12 points of damage. So that leaves us with Michelle's promotion, who can choose between Executioner and Opportunist, and I think just a few episodes ago we had that same choice to make with our psionic sniper Ryan Gibbons, and we are going with the exact same path here as well. Opportunist is hands down the better option in my opinion. Statistically speaking, the aim bonus from this ability is much larger than that of Executioner, and in my experience at least it also comes into play a bit more often. Now, in terms of loot, we actually obtained 32 weapon fragments, pushing our total up to 50, I believe, so we definitely have enough now to continue researching. And not only that, we also receive a nice cash bonus and 5 engineers for our efforts, so let's take a look around the base and see what we can do with all of that.
Remember, we will be watching.
Now, at this point, we could of course start working on either one of the 2 research projects, but we also don't desperately need them at the moment, and there might be something else we can spend weapon fragments on over in engineering.
The new engineers arrived this morning, Commander. We're always glad to have more help down here.
Now, at this point, we are finally starting to work on something that honestly might come a little late in the series, but I promised you guys that you would see a heavy weapons platform in action, so that is exactly what we'll start working on now. The whole project only costs 35 credits and takes 7 days to complete, but it's also only the base of what this heavy weapons platform can ultimately be if we spend a bit more time and money. For example, we can spend 50 credits and 15 weapon fragments to equip it with a laser cannon. We could in theory also jump straight to the plasma, but that's a bit more expensive, and for the sake of completion I would like to show off everything. For 150 credits we can then unlock advanced servo motors. This is actually something that does not only benefit the SH.I.Vs but also our mech units, as it increases the movement speed of both of them and therefore makes them a bit more versatile on the battlefield. For the same price tag, we can also tell our engineers to focus on shaped armor, this one once again benefiting both SH.I.Vs and mechs, as it gives both units a flat 3-point increase to their armor. Compared to the movement bonus, that is not as useful in my opinion, but it makes these already extremely tough units even tougher, and who can say no to that? Finally then, we will now spend 40 credits on the Sentinel drone, which gives our SH.I.V a small drone unit that is not only able to repair the SH.I.V, but also deals a small amount of damage to enemies that get too close.
The foundry is already warmed up. I'll make sure to notify you as soon as production is finished.
And with that package underway, we can now wrap up today's episode. During editing I noticed that we probably still have enough weapon fragments left to start another research project now, but at that point I had already recorded all the footage, so let's simply take care of that to start the next video. For today, as always, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, then I would of course be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. And if you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can either go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.